Hey, what it do, Bucs fans? Welcome to the Aftermath Bucs Report. The game 102.9, the game, Broad Street South Radio. We got a lot of shit to talk about tonight for the Bucs. Certain comments that other players made, and it's about to go down right now. And we're going to break down why your beloved Bucs are going to make noise. And do not forget to watch the preseason Saturday at 7. But let's get ready for that fire-ass intro, y'all. Let's do this. What's up again, Bucs fans? Welcome to Bucs Report, the Aftermath on 102.9, the game, Broad Street South Radio. It's one of your hosts, AJ Turn Up in the house. We got Coach Slick, a.k.a. the British guys always fly. And remember, this man right here, this is Coach Slick, who is going to take his team to the championship. Show your support for him. This is Coach Slick, a defensive-minded genius out here.
We love to have him with the Bucs organization.
Hey, look, man, you're a genius. You're a genius until someone challenges you and say otherwise. Shout out to you, though. How you doing this evening?
I just do my, me. I just do my stuff. I work hard, and it's all come into fruition. After a couple of years of obscurity, and it's all come into fruition. So it's well deserved. As a testament to what everyone else has put in as well. So it's not just me. It's a lot of other people. We got some bad news that our head coach will be moving on. But he's been offered like the dream job you could possibly get. So he's been offered to coach the University of West England and their program and help take them in the university rank. So he actually has to get to deal with scholarships and stuff like that. So a little bit different, but well deserved for a guy who put so much work in and shown us the way. So this guy is instrumental to my own coaching career. So he set the standard, and we all jumped to it. So. Big shout out to Sam Astley, even though he is a dirty old Saints fan.
Oh God, yeah.
We've had him on the show a couple of times as well.
We'll forget that part. We don't want to. You know what? But Coach, shout out to that coach. I hope he does very well for himself. But this also means, this might just be an answer. This might be an answer, guys. This might be an answer, Slick. There's might be a sign for you. But that's real good. Very proud of you, man. Happy that you are continuing to do your thing. And football is beautiful. Look. Football is beautiful. But, guys, we're here again to talk about the Bucs tonight. We got so many things to say. One of the biggest things, again, you need everybody. You need to watch and support the Bucs preseason this Saturday at 7. Why? Not for the players that we know that's going to get positions. Legit look out for the players that could be those uncut gems that we can mold that's going to help this roster, because that's what it's about. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this team this year. I don't know why Slick and the dude is here too, but Slick, I just feel like because of this disrespect that our Bucs are getting, that we're gonna shock the hell out of people. Now, I've told y'all I've been doing my TikTok thing, but I've had to go on there, Slick, and dude, you would not believe just the asinine thoughts that people have been putting out, not just about our Bucs, but just about football teams in general. One thing that I want everybody, Buc fans out there, to understand on this platform, these three gentlemen right here, we do our research and we're going to give you our opinions, but we also have facts and stats to support it. Look, Slick and I, we have the facts to tell you why Evans is an elite receiver and why he's not your top 5. He's the top 5, and he's not number 5 of the league. There's only 2 receivers that are better, if you want to say that, and it's Tyreek and Justin Jefferson. Evans is number 3. Everybody else that y'all mentioned don't even have the stats to hold Evans' jock strap.
But and to add to that, Mr. AJ, there's been a lot of people, mostly Saints fans, who talk about Mike Evans ain't this, Mike Evans ain't that. My favorite is Mike Evans won't get in the Hall of Fame. Real quick, did y'all watch the Hall of Fame induction this weekend?
Yeah.
There was a certain wide receiver from the Houston Texans. Remember him?
Yep.
What was his name again?
Andre Johnson.
Now, Andre Johnson was considered one of the elite receivers in the league at the time, right? Even though he's on a really bad team.
Yes.
Go look at his stats and then go look at Mike Evans' stats and then come back and perform fellatio on me, okay?
And it's funny you mentioned that. There's a lot of there's another Johnson that's in the Hall of Fame that Evans has more touchdowns than, and that's Calvin Johnson.
Right, but see, the thing is, 99% of the football fans out there who aren't a Bucs fan, they hear Tampa Bay Buccaneers and they go back to the 90s. They go back to MRSA. They go back to the 0-26. They go back to all that crap. But here's the thing. If you want to live in the past, go to Facebook. That's where you'll find all the old people living in the past. If you want to live in the future, you're talking about your back-to-back-to-back division champions. You're talking about Super Bowl champions. You're talking about the team that Tom Brady hand-picked. So if you think you're a better an analyst of NFL talent than Tom Brady, again, the line forms about an inch in front of me. Yes, I said an inch, to start performing that fellatio on me. With all that said, we do love the interaction, whether it's positive or negative. TikTok, we're coming there when they allow us to go live for a full show. Trust me on that. You can follow Bucs Report on TikTok. TikTok is really easy. Just type in Bucs Report. We're the one and only one called Bucs Report. Anybody else who calls themselves Bucs Report, you know what they are? Fake ass motherfucker. With that said, what we got here is we got a great show lined up. As you can tell, AJ is ramped up. I'm not sure what Slick is drinking tonight. What you got tonight, Slick?
We got a little bit of rum. We got a little bit of rum and Coke. We keep it the Cuba Libre, baby. We got that going.
Yeah, what's the ratio of that rum and Coke, bro?
How much Coke?
He accidentally spilled some Coke in his rum, is what he's telling you, everybody.
Yeah.
But with that said,
as a Bucs fan, that makes sense. We're pirates. Where's the rum?
Sleep on the Bucs all you want. I remember when Brady came, you said 6-10. That never happened. I remember when Brady left, you said it was going to be back to the cellar. That didn't happen. When they signed Baker Mayfield, you guys laughed, and we won the division. Hell, I'm still trying to figure out how the Carolina Panthers haven't had their franchise revoked for getting Bryce Young, and the Chicago Bears got how many players out of that trade?
I just don't get it.
So Dave Canales, I sympathize with you, Dave, but here's the thing. Sometimes a meteoric rise to the top of the coaching ranks is followed by a meteoric fall. And Dave, I hate to say this, but with that owner, I feel like you might be on the unemployment line next year because he put a lot of money and emphasis on you turning around the program, and you're going to trot out a freaking Oompa Loompa and expect him to compete against NFL talent. Look, Bryce Young's not as good as Kyler Murray, and it hasn't worked for Kyler Murray. So unless you can put a Hall of Fame team around it like we did Tom Brady, Carolina, you're destined to have your balls be as blue as your uniform, because that's what's happening. You're going to get blue balled again.
Yep, I agree. I and that's the thing. Canales is actually going through Slick what our coach in the past went through. Remember Raheem Morris when he got some hype in the ranks, but he was on a team that he was not prepared for. And this is, I think, what Canales is. You don't have a Mike Evans, you don't have a Godwin, you don't have those pieces to work with. Hell, look at their offensive line. You don't have a Tristan Wirfs to trot out there to help get something going. What do you expect? And you just said it, dude. Bryce Young is 5. He is not 5'10". That man is probably an inch taller than me, and I'm 5'7". No way.
Simone Biles could dunk on Bryce Young.
Yes, and that's not far-fetched. Go Simone Biles. But yes, but we like that because this shows you what bad organization football is. You're putting.
That used to be us, guys. That used to be us. We're just not in that playing field anymore. We figured it out. We kind of found our way, and weirdly enough, we were a quarterback away. That's all it was. Seriously, you look at it. We got Tom Brady. Things dramatically improved. We get Baker Mayfield after Tom Brady had that bum year. We've improved. So the quarterback position, if everything goes away as expected. So another year with Baker Mayfield, he hits it big with the new offensive coordinator. The weapons they got around, there is no reason we can't continue to be good.
No reason. No reason. And we're getting younger. That's the beautiful thing. Now, typically, we've all seen franchises in the past where they put everything in their arsenal. And then when they do win the Super Bowl, a lot of people leave away, or the defense is old and times have moved on. Your damn Bucs defense is young. Vita Vea, still young. Cansey, enough said. Yaya Diaby, enough said. Antoine Winfield, young. Your defense is only going to get better. Offensively, shout out to our guy, our chief, Jason Light, for knowing how to fucking draft receivers. Evans is the oldest one, and he's still playing at an elite level. But we also have Godwin. We also have Trey Palmer and McMillan. That's probably going to back things up. Cade Otton. We have, and then Rashad White in the backfield. The Bucs didn't. What I do like that Bowles said, we're not rebuilding, we reset. I love that line, because Bowles said, "Oh no, we're not through, guys. All we did is just reset a little bit and put a few pieces together, and we're back on it." That's why the Bucs are dangerous. That's why last year they had the season that they had, because this team they found their way, and look what happened. So for all you people out there, your PFF experts, supposedly knowing these rankings, we know why you do it. We know you want the other teams to succeed, but all these other teams that you want to succeed, the Bucs took care of them. That's why I love it. I love that the Eagles are above us, despite the fact that we whooped their ass, and they still have their own shitty storm of a situation. The Packers.
That's what I can't understand. They kept the same coach, right? This is the coach that couldn't figure it all out. They had a great season before when they went to the Super Bowl. Then they hit it big. They had this sexy design. Well, I don't say sexy. This design play that nobody could stop, known as the touch push. Then they created variations of it to make it a little bit more robust. And then all of a sudden, everything went to shit. Like everything went to shit. They were on a downhill. It wasn't that they just were unhealthy. It wasn't that they still had players. They still had pieces. They were one of the most complete teams in the NFL. They just couldn't put it together. That paper team just got turned to ash.
Right. I like that. Paper team turned to ash. And you have to establish an identity. Mind you, the Bucs not only stopped the tush push once, we stopped it twice. We stopped it when they were in the regular season, when they were on the hype train. But Jalen Hurts showed you that Slick and I, and even we've all said this. When people said, "Oh, well, Jalen is elite," he's not elite. Slick and I have a very respectable critique on elite status. You need 4 years of consistency or 4 years of improvement. You can't have one bomb-ass season and then go, "Oh, he's elite." Jalen Hurts.
Remind me how good he was in his first 2 years.
Bad. You know why? Because we embarrassed him when they got to the playoffs.
He got talent around him, and he was able to put up numbers. Is it the talent, or is it him?
It's the talent.
Realistically, you can argue it's a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
But you take that talent away, you're back to where he was. So it's not just talent, because we've seen people like Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, take away his favorite slot receiver.
Yes.
He can still do a job, and that's just one player. One player. You can't just turn around and say, "Oh, one player will make him great." He just needs one safety net, and he was still able to put together a winning Super Bowl season.
That's right.
That's right. That is fucking elite. Having all your weapons available to you and still coming up short, that ain't elite.
That's asinine, because that's what we're saying. And guys, that's why elite statuses are very reserved for the special. You can't always put somebody. Yes, you can have elite moments. There are guys who had the courage to talk to the fine chick at the end of the bar. That doesn't mean he walked away with her. He just had a moment where he looked like it was there, but he came up short.
Hey, maybe he was clever and went back at about 3 a.m. and she were up for it.
The Eagles are more like they're at the bar, they're talking to the hot chick, they pick up the hot chick, they get her back to her place, and it's a 2-pump chump, premature ejaculation, and we're done.
Exactly.
I've always found that the Philadelphia Eagles is a weird team mainly because they're synonymous with winning, but they only have one Super Bowl. Like they've been consistently a team that regularly makes the playoffs and wins the division, right? And
Right.
not a team that wins a chip because they only recently won one, but they're one of the oldest teams in the NFL.
That too, but here's
Could you imagine if they hadn't run Andy Reid out of town in Philly?
Oh man. Well, first of all, if they didn't run Andy Reid out of Philly, there's no Mahomes. And I stamped that. And I'm saying
Well, wait. Who was the only one that valued Mahomes that high in the draft? Andy Reid. He would have took him then in Philly, and he'd be your quarterback, Philly. Not some guy whose last name sounds like Payne.
Right. And Slick, don't get confused. But the Philadelphia, when it comes to teams in general, was synonymous with choking. Before the Phillies won,
but when you have like win records,
Philly has always been a choke stop place when it came to the teams.
They're a regular season team.
The only people that we give respect for that had a dignifying loss is the great Allen Iverson, the answer. And that's because he was relatable. But besides all that, Philly is a choke artist, but they get a lot of hype, like you said, because they're one of the older teams. They're in a very big city, very old, very patriotic over here. But overall, no. Philadelphia always get that unnecessary hype. And Slick, you've said this before, and you've probably experienced it because I know I have. When your players quit on you, that's terrible. That is terrible, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrible. And that takes time for it to get back. It takes time to reestablish. There's two things that I believe that a lot of football NFL teams go for in general: direction and identity. You have to have those two to coincide. If not, that is why teams fall apart.
But they lost them. It's almost like they went, "Oh, we're this team," and then they went, "What the fuck did that team do?"
Right.
They were you can't tell me by week 6 Philadelphia Eagles look like they could go to the Super Bowl back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yes.
Guaranteed. Right? And they go from that to then you get to week 15 and you're like, this team ain't gonna make it.
Yeah. Well,
you know what just dawned on me that scares me to death though? If Nick Sirianni steps on the proverbial schmeckle this year again, they're going to run him out of town, right? Because he's got a shitload of talent, like you just said.
Yep.
What legendary head coach is just chilling out there? Bill Belichick.
Yeah, and they're not
to the Eagles. Write it down, mark it. 2025, Belichick will be the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh shit!
I'm putting that in my book.
That would actually be funny, in my opinion, if that happens.
I got Raptors by week 13.
I just don't think his personality would fit in Philly. I don't see it.
Oh, I think they would love him because he's just like, he doesn't give a shit about what you think. He just says, yeah, we had a bad game and now we're going to move on. My point with that is, with the whole Belichick is, he's obviously he's available or he's not coaching anywhere. 2, that team, like Slick said and AJ was talking about, they've got talent top to bottom. Yep. What they need is a leader.
That's right.
A person who has a resume of winning, a person who knows how to put an organization together and keep it together. I never saw anybody quit on Bill Belichick.
Nope. You couldn't. Otherwise, your ass would be unemployed.
And that's what Philly needs. All those guys like a Devin White who out here running their damn gator and ain't performing on the field, all those players would be gone. Philly, you don't understand the difference between the Nick Sirianni and a Bill Belichick team. And if you did understand it, you'd be latching on this show and sharing it everywhere you're going, holy crap, this is the way. This is the way, like the Mandalorian said. But with that said, I don't want to see Bill Belichick on the NFC. No. Take your ass back over there. Go coach the UFL or something, bro. I'm tired of you. But with all that said,
he sticks to that young girl that he's putting it into.
Well, that's the other thing. Imagine all the young girls in Philadelphia.
Just go and father them more children.
Exactly. Yes.
And bringing up something totally off key here real quick before I jump off, because you guys need to get your stuff in. Tom Brady, we love you, man. We appreciate everything you did. But, bro, I saw you at the Olympics, dude. Quit wearing them shorts that are halfway up your thigh, bro. It's kind of weird, dude. It looks like, I don't even know how to put words to it. But Tom, it's okay to wear shorts that are a couple inches above your knee, but you're out here wearing like biker shorts or something, looking like the creepy guy at the park picnic. So, Tom, you're stylish.
Yeah, look. That's so European. We love our shorts to be really short. We just love it.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Dude, his shorts are shorter than Simone Biles. Boom, that's two Simone Biles joke.
Halfway between your thighs.
Yeah,
that's kind of like the area. Like the higher you can go, the more you can show off your legs. That's it. If you have good legs,
we call them nut huggers.
You skipping leg day, then yeah, you're gonna need that long shit. But if you're not skipping leg day, you want to show off them quads.
Yeah, but see, at this age, when you wear shorts that high, you got to be checking yourself when you sit down. That ain't nothing popping out, bro. And that's why I'm scared for Tom. Okay, Tom isn't a spring chicken.
Exactly. You ever seen Scary Movie, Slit? There's a part where this man goes, "Yeah, we all have secrets," and then she has to then the ball drops. Thanks for ball. I mean all. We don't need that. Not in the States. You will be on the list. You can't do certain things back in the day. You can't do it like you used to.
It balls into the Olympics like it's synonymous.
Exactly. Christopher Cole, what's up? Shout out to Christopher Cole because guys, just a few days ago, I had to school this person on Mike Evans. This guy was arguing up and down that Mike Evans is barely a top 10 because he's not a well-rounded receiver. Christopher Cole and like 5 other people chimed in, but I told this guy, I said, so wait a minute. You do realize there are a lot of great wide receiver in the Hall of Fame that had something special because they focused on what they dominated in. Randy Moss was never a well-rounded wide receiver. That motherfucker did a go route. Nothing wrong with that. So shout out to Randy Moss because he was still great. It's what he excelled in. Jerry Rice was the most well-rounded, but that level, you cannot put that same type of requirements on every receiver. Everybody is special in their own way. When he talked about Devontae, I said this, Slick, you know how many years it took for Devontae to get to 1,000 yards? His 5th year.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, when someone said it's so easy, I said, well, if that's the case, why don't all receivers who are great that you think are better than
him? Oh well, he got 1,000 yards, but like barely. It's like, but the point still stands. Like he's the only person, bar Randy Moss, who I believe he's eclipsed now, and Jerry Rice, the only people. Only let that really sink in a streak point of view. Yeah, he's the only person. But it's so easy to do. Well, if it's so easy to do, why can't Devontae Adams do it? Why can't D-Hop do it? Why can't Julio Jones do it? Julio Jones, if he was, I don't know if he's still playing today. If he was still playing today, has the most yards of any wide receiver. Yet he couldn't do it. That's because he has inflated seasons and he has dead seasons. And that's a real thing, and it happens. And what we're trying to say is the consistency of 1,000 yards every year is fucking impressive because not that many people do it. It's a bit like turning around and say, I won 3 Super Bowl rings. That's fucking impressive because it's 3 Super Bowl rings, especially if you're a big part of the team.
Yep.
But what if you were like a superstar, but you only wore the one? So here's the thing. And let me middle with this a little bit. You're a good player, you have 3 Super Bowl, and you have 3 Super Bowl rings. You're an amazing player, but you only have the one. Who was the better player? You look at the combination of everything. One was consistently great, and the other one had chunks of where he was the greatest of all time, considered the greatest of that year. He only had the 1 Super Bowl ring to go with it. If I'm running a franchise, I want consistency. Consistency, I can win with consistency because I never need to worry. If I've got to worry, I've got a problem. This guy might not be able to produce this year. Now I've got to find a replacement. I don't have to find a replacement, Mike Evans. He's still doing the thing. Until he stops doing the thing, I don't have to worry.
I don't have to worry, guys. And again, it's just when they say, but it's just something about him. What? Because he doesn't have bleached hair. He doesn't do a cartwheel. He doesn't do a curtsy. He doesn't do a split after a touchdown. He just gets the shit done. And again,
Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee multiple times.
And I said this. You know what makes him that separates him from Def Taxes Mike Evans 4,000 yards. Damn right.
I'm fucking that needs to be added everywhere.
Yeah,
That's fucking beautiful.
And this sets him in a almost in a class by only with him and a few other receivers. Mike Evans is a quarterback maker because this person came out and Christopher Cole saw this. He said, "Well, yeah, well, he this Jamar Chase's quarterback Burrow got injured." I said, "Who gives a fuck?" Evans had to play with Josh McCown. He had to play with backups, Blake Bortles, and all these people throwing him the rock. He made Johnny Manziel get drafted.
No, he made Johnny Manziel hard stop.
He made it stop. We rest our case, guys. Nobody knew who the fuck Johnny Manziel was until Mike Evans. The only reason you knew Johnny Manziel separated was his personality. That's it. But Mike Evans was out there doing it. And then when he went pro, people forget Mike Evans had to share the spotlight with Vincent Jackson. Vincent Jackson was still a dog.
Yeah.
Doesn't
I am
matter.
wide receiver, and he eclipsed him by year 2.
And he eclipsed him by year 2. And that's when I knew, Slick. I said, we got us a guy. Of course, when I saw him against the Pittsburgh game, that was one of my memorable moments. But you're right. By year 2, I saw that, Slick. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna surpass V-Jax. That's incredible. Slick, you just said that. And V-Jax was a player on the top of his game.
Oh, and Eagle fan.
Yeah.
Mike Evans made Deshaun Jackson in Tampa irrelevant.
Yep.
Ooh. That again.
At least Winston could fucking hit Mike Evans for a long ass touchdown. He could never fucking hit D-Jax.
Well, that's because D-Jax was never mind. I'm not even gonna go there but you're right. He resurrected. If anything, Mike Evans resurrected AB, and people are going to go, no way. Yes way. Nobody was thinking about AB when he was out there. You had to think about Mike Evans. Go back to those 2020 and 2021 seasons. You can attest to this, dude. They were still fucking doubling Evans. Nobody gave a fuck about AB to that point. Hell, if anything, AB was the 4th guy because this is who you had to worry about: Mike Evans, Godwin, and Gronk. Then you had to worry about AB. AB was the luxury tax. It was a luxury. I told people this. He was a luxury. He was that bonus cake. He didn't have to be there. We were going to win without him. You think so? No, so. Brady won with fucking Edelman and Amendola as his.
Let's call it what it is. Tom Brady performed some charity by getting Antonio Brown a second chance in the NFL, and Antonio Brown proceeded to pull his pants down and take an entire shit on that fucking whole ordeal. Antonio, I don't give a fuck what the problem here is. You don't have to act like a douchebag every second of every day, but here you are. So I think the perfect place for Antonio to get his 3rd chance would be in the great city of Philadelphia. How much more bullshit can you add to that Eagles team? Yeah, Eagle, I'm on you. EAGLES spells SUCKS all fucking day. Eagle stuff. You guys came to Tampa, and all your little super fans with their makeup were outside the stadium doing TikToks and social media live feeds talking about how you're here to take over Tampa and fly, Eagle fly. And then your team walked on the field and got fucking ass raped over and over and over again. And then you went outside and you said, I don't know what happened. I know what happened. You got beat by a better organization, a better coach team with a better roster that was all pulling in one direction. Whereas your team, you had your quarterback doing little sneaky slide calls to opposing teams' coordinators because you didn't have faith in the coaching staff you had on your existing roster. Imagine Tom Brady with the Patriots calling up, I don't know, the Bills offensive coordinator saying, hey, you got some pointers? Belichick would have strung his balls up outside of Gillette Stadium as a fucking trophy. Okay? So, Eagles organization, you've lost your way. Jalen Hurts, you seem like a really good dude. You really do. But you also seem like you need to bump up that leadership skill. You need to grab that locker room by its throat and shake it a little bit and see what falls out. Kick those to the side and tell the coach, this is my fucking team. I'm going to lead this offense to the promised land. And until you do that, your career is going to hurt.
It's going to, yes. And also, you're going to have a coach. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. You have JT Olsen, what's up to my man? But we just said it. Your coach has got to reestablish trust and order. Then you got to find the direction and identity of, hey, guys, what are we going to do? And spare me with the A.J. Brown shit. I'm so sick of everybody overhyping him. How dare you think A.J. Brown is better than Mike Evans or any of these kind of receivers? Why? Okay, he had a few good moments, but what happened when the regular season was over? First of all, Philly wasn't right after the 49ers club stomped them, but his personality, again, this was an A-B situation all over again. Well, if he had it right, that counts. If he doesn't have his shit together, that's on AB. Your team, Slicks just said it earlier, in the middle of the season, we thought the Eagles, most people were like, yo, they can go back. After that 49ers ass whooping, they were never the same. And then, like our dude said, they thought they were still going to come into Tampa and do something. You mean a team that just that's hungry? Nah. When the Bucs had the ball the first quarter, I'm like, oh, we got this. I could tell deep the Eagles were lost. And like you said, no leadership, Slick, no leadership, dude. But this is where the rank is. This is where the Eagles, they really want to, y'all want to die on that hill thinking, we got Saquon Barkley. Who gives a shit? What's Jalen Hurts going to do? What's going to happen if we load the box?
Their running backs last year weren't bad at all. They had good backs.
Exactly.
Like, let's not pretend that they had like a few bums and Jalen Hurts. It wasn't that. They had a solid. They had one of the better backfield. They had one of the better backfields in football. There is no fucking way just sitting there and going, oh well, they've got Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's been on teams and they stunk it up too. So
Saquon Barkley to the Eagles feels a lot like Emmitt Smith to the Cardinals.
Oh damn! Woo, that's funny. Yeah, and I love Saquon, but at the same time,
but not technically wrong. I can see that. I can see that. He gets injured too much. I think that's my worry. I think once he gets injured, it's done, isn't it? Like, what are you going to do?
Exactly. Hey, I'm going to jump off here, guys, but I got to take one shot at this week's upcoming preseason opponent. Hey, Joe Burrow. Slim Shady's dead. Okay? Lose the haircut, bro. Cincy fans, Joe Burrow, big fan of you and what you did at LSU. Big fan of how you handled yourself throughout your college career. Big fan of how you broke into the NFL. But, bro, you got to stay off the injured reserve list, dude. And I don't know if we can blame the line in Cincy or the entire organization or if Joe Burrow's just fragile. But here's what I will say. You're damn lucky this ain't a regular season game, bro, because this defense is coming for blood. They're coming to not ask for respect, to take respect. And for all you out there, you fans of other teams celebrating Yaya Diaby going down, that mofo was in practice with no boot today, looking just fine. Y'all got all hyped up. Oh, you guys lost your stud guy, blah, blah, blah. Dude, we don't reload. We reset. Welcome to Tampa, where we'll take your tourist money and we'll put your ass back on I-95 and send you north. Thank you guys for the time. Thank you for the vine. And for anybody who's not a Bucs fan out there, suck it.
Suck it and bucket. I love it. I love that shit. I love it. But guys, we gotta get to the nitty-gritty. Wish dude would have stayed on for this one, but I'm gonna let Slick take this away. I'm sure you heard. I want you to break down the comments.
Okay.
I'm lost for words.
All right. Okay. So our ex-boy in Devin White, because I ride with a guy until they're gone. That's just the way I am. Like I will critique. I love Devin White's personality. I always liked it. The last 2 years, I found that he was becoming a bit of a problem, and his ego was not to par with his play.
Yeah.
So Devin White went on to the Pivot podcast with Freddie T, Mr. TaylorMade, Ryan Clark, and Channing Crowder. So the first thing I want to pick up is, and I don't remember this, AJ. I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember a 5-game losing streak in 2020 when we won the Super Bowl? Because I don't remember it being 5 games, maybe 3.
No, we lost 3. We
lost to the Chiefs, and then we got it back on track.
We lost
5 games successive. So
we lost to the Rams, and then we lost to the Chiefs. So we lost 2 games. We was only on a 2-game losing streak, I think.
Let's pull this bitch up while we talk about it. But it seems excessive for me anyway. But look, it's Devin White. CTE is a real thing, and it may have kicked his ass a little bit. But we will go on to a few other things. To be honest, I actually enjoyed the interview quite a lot because it showed a little humility from him and what have you. But there was also his ego does get in the way. So one of the things he did say is playing under Levante David's shadow. Now, the reason I wanted to touch on this is, of course, you're playing on under Levante David's shadow. He's the dude. Like you come into a team with an established middle linebacker who is massively respected by the organization and is genuinely respected by his peers, so other teams as well. It's just he's not a mainstream media person. He's not a media guy who chats. He's not a chatter. He's not an ego. He's not an ego-driven guy. So of course you're going to play in his shadow. The point was, I don't know if you escaped this, Devin, was you were supposed to emerge from that shadow as the next guy. You're supposed to you're supposed to be in the shadow, learn, get everything in, which he did say he did, and he respects the shit out of Levante David. He's still to this day, they're friends and what have you, and I think that's fantastic. But he said it's great to be out of his shadow. And I can understand that because Levante's shadow is a long fucking shadow. He's that fucking good. Like, genuinely. So, but you're always going to be in that shadow regardless. If you went to the 49ers, you're going to be in Fred Warner's shadow. If you go to somewhere else, you're going to be in that. Sorry, I'm just I can't remember which team. Smith's. You're the Ravens, you're going to be in Roquan Smith's shadow. Insert good linebacker, extremely good linebackers name here, like the top 5 linebackers or even the top 10. You're going to be in that person's shadow until you can step out of it. And the point was, we thought after 2020, you're going to step out of it. Because that was the expectation. 2019 showed us you had the talent. It was still raw. 2020, still raw, playoffs come, and you are probably and arguably one of the best linebackers in the league in that playoff run.
Yep.
In the history of football, in the history of modern football.
Yep.
I'm talking in the last 20 years.
Yep.
One of the greatest in the playoffs. So we're looking at 2021 thinking, wow, all he needs to do, this cat needs to do is add a few interceptions and a few passes batted away. He can't. Like, he will be the best linebacker in football. But it didn't happen.
Yep.
The play dropped off a little bit. 2021 wasn't a bad year. It wasn't a great year. It was just
it was below expectations because the team was
a flat line.
Yeah, exactly. It was stagnant.
Yeah. He came into the league and he went boop, boop, and then it went flat. And we were okay with flat because flat meant the standard was roughly the same. That's probably a little bit different.
Yeah.
Then 2022 comes along, and you are making loads of mistakes. Mm-hmm. You get called out by a Hall of Famer, Warren Sapp.
Yep.
You had a couple of good games. Don't get me wrong. The games that you were good in, the games that you were bad in were woeful. And then you had the audacity when you were interviewed. When you were interviewed after the Falcons game, which we lost, we won by a scrape. Mm-hmm. You turned around and said, "Oh, we got tired of beating down a team, and they kind of made some plays, and we had to." And I was like, and we got a bit bored. I genuinely can't understand how a guy can get bored when the scoreline was never out of sight. At any point, that game was not completed. You were dominating them,
Exactly.
absolutely, completely agree with that. But the scoreline meant, and we know what football's like, man. You can watch football and have your ass kicked up and down the field, but if the score don't change too much, it says like a 20-10 game. You get that touchdown, 17-20. You know you're in it now. Even if you've been stalled out. You start the game, you got a touchdown. Let's go, and then you got a field goal. They got 20 points, and now you're in the third quarter. You score a touchdown, but your defense has been holding them. You're now 17-20. The whole fucking game has changed. Even though you've been getting your offense has been having its ass kicked all fucking day. That's the beauty of this game. That's why we don't feel comfortable until there's at least 21 points on the board. And I genuinely don't feel comfortable when I watch football until that fat lady's whistling, or I can see the timer whistling out.
Yep.
Because I know how quickly this game can change for you. I've seen us win the game that way, and I've seen us lose games that way. You just don't know. All it takes is that one pass, that one defender wasn't able to get a hand to it, or he just got beat, flat out got beat. Ball goes over his head, boom, touchdown. Now we're rocking and reeling. And I think that's the thing that irritates me about Devin White and the whole the shadow comment. You were meant to be in his shadow, but you were expected to emerge from the shadow. And then Levante go, yeah, I'm done. This guy's the future. I'll take the less money, stick around as long as I can, and I'll go about my business when I'm done. And you be like, I am the man. There was a succession plan. That was the whole fucking point of you being drafted, was you were supposed to replace him. You're supposed to live in the shadow. You're supposed to step out at some point.
Yeah.
Instead, he got sunburned. He stepped out of the shadow and went, fuck. Seriously, he realized the house lights are too fucking bright.
Yes.
That's how it felt to me. He regressed. And there are some things and I'll touch on those as we get in. The comment that he made in the draft me now. We all know this one. I bet you know this one. Draft me now, because in 5 years, you're going to be paying $100 million. 5 years has passed. It's not $100 million.
It's not $100 million.
The thing I love about Devin, he's got that swag about him, and I appreciate it. But it's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement that you weren't ready to cash in, and his reality check bounced. It didn't bounce. The reality check didn't bounce. You're right about this. He was going to be in Levante's shadow, but it was his job to succeed and surpass it. The mantle was supposed to be fucking passed to him. 2020, we all thought that 2020 run in the playoffs, okay, Devin White has arrived. But like you said, 2020, dude has said this before, success was a curse, can be a blessing and a curse to certain players. It was a curse for him because once he started getting the attention, once he started getting more interviews, I think, and then about his story about riding horses and shit, that took away from the game. It's like, Devin, this is why I am who I am. I challenge the media or anybody else. I don't give a fuck what you say. I give a fuck about the performance of the player on the field. If it's not matching what the media is saying, there's a problem. And that's what Devin was. He was the problem. You never got better in coverage. And let's go back to the Levante. You got drafted in 2019, Devin. Levante was here 7 years before you got here. By 2015, Levante established himself as that guy. He progressed each year.
3 years.
3 years. And Devin, you didn't do that. You didn't progress. One position you got worse in. And one of the most important was pass coverage. They took, like you said, Slick, before, they took advantage of Devin White in pass coverage. Oh, he's in this position. Devin, and I'm saying this to Ryan Clark and all of them. I know they just had him on there, but I want y'all to get on here so you can hear what we got to say as well. You got to play $100 million worth to be $100 million worth. Are you out of your mind, Devin? At most, Devin, you were a $40 to $50 million linebacker. That's it. You did that because it's your attitude. And I want to go to what Christopher Cole said. Thank you for this. White admitted that he didn't try hard enough in Tampa Bay, saying that he's on a team now that he wants to try harder. That's a shitty mentality. It's a blessing, first of all, Slick, to be in the NFL at the highest level. Why not give it your all right then and there? What? I know what he thought, and this is what kind of pisses me off about the Eagles. You know what he thought, Slick? Buck fans, this is what he was telling you too. He thought the Eagles were better. He thought that, okay, they're going to be on the rise. Let me go here, and I'm going to be a better star. And fuck the shadow conversation. I hear that, but no. You thought you were going to go to a team that was going to be better. Now look at it. You're on a team that's in chaos. What's up?
Levante David in his first year already eclipsed the leading tackler of the team. 2012, he was already the leading tackler of the team. Mason Foster was the second guy up. He beat him by 33 tackles. More tackles for a loss, more QB hits. Let's go with the others. More passes defensed. They both got an INT each, and they both played 16 games each. But yeah, first year, he was already the dude by year one.
There you go. So that's why
second round pick, not a first, second rounder.
Second rounder. And this is why we love Levante. You said it best. We always say his personality. He's reserved because he is who he is, and he just wants his actions to speak louder. Devin, that's why you didn't, because you talk too damn much. Devin and Micah Parsons and them suffer from the same type of complex. When you feel that you need to go to Twitter to defend yourself or talk shit, that's when you lose us. Levante, you said it best. He always doesn't even hardly interact when the season is. You know why? Because Levante is locked in. Levante wants to play. Devin, the Eagles, Christopher Cole just said it. You don't have a Levante David there. The Eagles don't have a Levante David on their roster to help your mistakes. If anything, you think that Tampa Bay Buck fans were bad. The Eagle fans will chew you out if you fuck up just once. And don't even think about trying to be sassy to that organization, to them fans. They'll chew you up. Devin White, you going on there and expressing all this stuff. Well, I did this and that. Okay, why the fuck didn't you have this terms with yourself with the Bucs? You should have done that. No league was paying contract, nobody was going to pay you $100 million. And here's the thing, Devin, I thought you were going to show out. Slick, remember that I said, you know what, Devin's going to show out. He showed up, but he didn't show out. He showed himself out of Tampa because that's what kind of player you are. You are an ego person, and it went against you and it bit you in the ass because he went to Philly, right? He's not making big dollars. He's not making the big money. You first of all, they got too many people to feed over there. That's why,
to be honest, I don't think he will get the second contract. Not because of even if he plays really good, they're a little bit strapped for cash. I don't think they can afford it. Mm-hmm. I think he'd be better off. He'll probably get picked if he has a good to great season. He'll probably get picked up by another team. If he has an okay season, they'll probably re-sign him.
Mm-hmm. And that's it.
I just think you've got to look at the future of a team. Like, it's all well and good, like going to a team that you think is going to help you win or get back on track. That's fine because they've got a lot of pieces on the defense that's around them. That's fine. The problem is they've got so many mouths to feed. You would have to outplay everyone on the defense to get that money. Then you got to take into your age the fact that they don't know you as well. You've got to be the ultimate leader. You stack the bench against yourself. Whereas if you went somewhere else where, you probably might not get the accolades of lots of wins because let's face it, Philly is still going to win football games. They're still probably going to end up with a winning record this year. But if you went somewhere, for the sake of argument, I'm just going to insert a name like Jacksonville or the Colts or whoever. Yeah, you might not win as many games, but you might make a bigger name for yourself because you are the constant. You are the reason.
Yeah.
Because they don't have all these bits. Like Levante David was the constant. It was him and Gerald McCoy. Take everybody else out. It didn't fucking matter. Gerald McCoy and him. There are a couple of other guys that did jobs or were consistent enough that they weren't bad. But the majority of from 2012 to 2019, the constants were
Gerald and our boy
until Gerald left, right? So from the moment he got drafted, the moment Vontae got drafted to the moment Gerald left, in that span of 2000 to 2019, 2012 to 2019, it was the Gerald McCoy and Levante David show. Everyone else didn't matter enough. They just didn't. And you can't win a franchise just having a cornerstone DT and a cornerstone. You need other pieces. You need a coach. I always say if you're going to build a team and you need to have like a stud, you need a stud in every section. Ideally you want a stud edge, a stud middle guy, stud backer, and a stud DB. You got those four, you'll have success. Everyone else could be average or just be average. You can build them up because they'll play higher because of the talent that's around them, especially if they're good leaders.
That's right. And that's the thing. Leader. Devin White, you weren't really necessarily a leader. You were the hype man. You were the guy that you cleaned it up when things were going very well. Like when the momentum is on its peak, that's when a Devin White can show up. But he doesn't go through the growing pains and the struggles. Levante could miss a tackle and come back and make the game-winning tackle or stop them on a certain down. Yeah. That's not Devin White. And that's why Devin White got to understand that your mindset is where you are, is why you didn't get that contract. Look at what we did for Levante. The Bucs begged him to come back, not the other way around. He could have gone anywhere. Even after that Super Bowl run, people wanted Levante. The Bucs said, no, we need you. What can we do?
Do you not think teams like the Eagles, other teams that are in the league that could have done with like the Ravens, instead of going after, was it Roquan Smith? They could have got themselves a Levante David where they didn't have to use any picks or anything. They traded for him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they traded for Roquan Smith. So imagine if they could just buy a guy and not have to spend a shit ton of money because they're a playoff level team.
Right. And here's what's scarier, Slick. What if Levante went to the 49ers? That wouldn't be fair. At that point, the 49ers defense alone could take care of things. You're talking about leadership with him and Fred Warner. They would work together. That shit would fuse. Yes, you're right, Slick. A guy like Levante can go somewhere else on a team that's destined to be Super Bowl bound, and he could put them over the edge. It's no coincidence that in the Super Bowl, they said, Levante, you check Kelsey. In elite, they say tight end, but we're going to say slot receiver. But for
slot receiver for me, I'll say this. It'll be harder to cover than the tight end.
There it is.
Right, just think about it. When we look at football, and a tight end is usually the word tight end means to be attached to the line. It's the tightest guy to the end of the line of scrimmage, right? That's pretty much what a tight end is. So, what's the route tree of a guy that is a tight end? It's going to be that way. It's going to be that way. What you're saying, that's the sideline. That way and that way. So everything's facing this side or up. When you're a slot receiver, it's this.
Yep.
It's fucking wide open because you can go any which way. You don't go when you don't go this way and go inwards that often when you're a tight end. One reason why. Can you tell me why, AJ? Why don't you want to go this way? So you're the end man line of scrimmage. So your last guy's here. You're the guy on the outside. Why don't you go inside?
Well, either way, I got two reasons. One, if your tight end breaks out and they got an extra person to do a blitz, that leaves you wide open. Or if your quarterback's and the timing's wrong, I can pick you off. That's
not only that. If you do catch the ball, you got inside linebackers
that's going to
coming down hard on you. You got safeties. If you get past them, you got safeties coming down hard on you. Whereas from the slot receiver's position, by the time they got into the middle of the field, everyone's moved around a little bit more because everyone's got different people to pick up and different schemes and what have you.
True.
So you realistically can get under the linebackers or over the linebackers because there's a little bit more space to work with.
Yep.
Whereas the tight end, everyone's kind of squeezed together. You don't really You don't really want to go on the inside too much. You can lean to the inside. You can work your way into the inside, but you don't want to be pushing straight inside.
You don't want to set your tight end up.
You're going to get your ass chapped.
Right, but either way, Levante David did one of his greatest performances at the highest stage, the Super Bowl. He made Kelsey look bad.
And you know what's beautiful about it? Even Kelsey turned around and said, he fucking got me.
Yes, he did.
And there's nothing better than have somebody who everyone says is the greatest tight end, whether we agree with it or not. When someone who's coined the term, one of the GOAT tight ends, and he shut me out in a Super Bowl.
Yes, he got.
When they put him in Canada, that's the play. Those are going to be the plays.
Exactly, and that's and like you said, those are the plays that Levante does on a consistency. Devin, you had a great splash year in 2020. We're not putting that away. So for anybody out there who thinks that we're hating, no, we acknowledge what Devin White did.
Devin White first 3 years was actually like it just got better and better, and then better, flatline, maybe a slight decline. He could bring it back because we know that players don't just do this; they tend to do this. You know, we know that there's up and downs in everything. You know, Mike Evans, you look at the receiving yards, it goes up and down, but it's what's happened is the trend is 1,000 yards here, Mike Evans is always here.
Yep, and that's amazing. And you can say for Levante, when it comes to 100 tackles right here, Levante is always on that trend, on that trend. And if anything, he was used. If you want to talk about pass rush and being well-rounded, and I hate to say this, but he was utilized the most. We haven't seen him utilized the way that he has been since the Schiano days. I remember during Schiano, he was rushing motherfuckers and hitting people. They could have used him that way. They just decided later on down the years they didn't have to. But yes, Levante could be whatever you wanted. Like people talk about Fred Warner. That was Levante. From 2012 to like 2017, Levante did whatever you needed. And people forget he switched 2 defensive schemes. He went from a 4-3 to a 3-4. And he's kicking ass. Not many linebackers can do that.
I don't even want to guess how many different defensive coordinators.
Oh, he went from Mike Smith to Lovie Smith to oh, good God. And it doesn't mean that it was good, but he did his part. That's what makes Evan.
Yeah, Greg Schiano, whoever Greg Schiano had, then you had Lovie Smith, then you had Mike Smith, then you had Tom Bolton. That's four guys, and they're all different, slightly different schemes. So, and he popped in every single one of them. But let's bring it back a little bit. So,
yeah,
he said that the trade demand was leverage, but it turned against him. It all turned against him. And I will say this: that was probably a schooling in don't demand a trade. Demanding a trade always makes you look selfish. Doesn't matter what reasons you do it for.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we know that you're looking against me. Everyone knows that. Once you demand a trade, it looks worse. I don't know why. There's something about the word demand.
Yeah.
You turn around to your missus, you turn around to your good lady, and you say, "Sex." No, it ain't gonna fucking happen. You got to cue her into it. You lay on a little bit of charm. You can't just go in.
You just got to.
I wish I could.
You got to romance the shit, and that's what players don't realize. You got to play a certain part. You demanding shit. First of all,
that's a chick's move, right?
Yes.
I want this, or you don't get sex.
Right, and then we're gonna look at your accolades. Wait, what do you look like? Hold on, you can't. Devin White was the 5, no, the 6, the chick that's a 6 that thought she deserves what a 7 and an 8 deserves, and then she went out there and tested the market, and then she realized I'm just a 6. Devin, you were a 6 or a 5. You were that chick. That's what we're saying. Like you just said to me.
I got a better one for you. She's the chick that was in high school, all the boys wanted, and then she went to college and she just realized I'm just fucking average.
Yes.
But I want the same respect.
Yes, and that's what Devin doesn't understand. When you're right. When players demand things, the first thing they're going to do is look at your accolades. If some other team, if you don't have what is qualified to be like one of those, I can understand if Devin White had 160 tackles, 13 sacks, and 8 picks. Okay, you could demand that type of shit, but you didn't.
Be a top 5 linebacker. Nope. I don't think he's done it yet. I don't think any season that he's played, I don't even think he's been. I think he scraped into the top 10 once or twice, maybe.
Yeah, I say 2020 and 2021. 2020 was his peak. He was just outside the top 5. Now, if you say during the playoffs, one of the best. But yes, 2021, he was in the top 10. But then after 2022, he was just outside the top 10 by then, probably like 11 or 12. But then by this year, people was like, okay, this guy has fallen off a cliff. He went through the Quan Alexander thing.
Yeah, and I think the reason people need to understand is when teams take a chance on a Devin White or a Quan Alexander or whatever. Quan Alexander moved while his stock was high. In all fairness, he never played. He left. He left on the terms of that he was still playing good, right? Yeah. And then he went and shit the bed. That's a different thing. Yes. Where Devin White kind of started to progress down. He still has the opportunity to trend up, and I hope for his own sake, and just for the fact that he was a former Buck. Hope he does it, but just not well enough. Not well enough against us. That's all that matters to me.
The simple fact you went to the Eagles, it's like, I want you to bomb the fuck out now. I want you to tank and bomb out because you went. When certain people go to certain teams, and especially if you didn't get the money that you wanted. Now I know. To me, you're telling me I'm going to this team because they're better. Now, they're giving me a better opportunity. No, because if that's the case,
he already said that he's gone to the Eagles because they are a better team and because he believes they can go back to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Disrespectful. Why? And I'd be like, Devin, why? You have an unproven quarterback in Jalen Hurts who shows that Slick eloquently put, when the talent around you is doing bad, you do bad. That's not elite status. When you got figured out,
and let's know what kind of identity. Take this into consideration. We talked about how Patrick Mahomes has got it done with a couple of bobbies and no one's going to take away from Kelsey what he is, because he is an amazing football player, no matter what anyone said. Whether you want to class him as a linebacker, a slot receiver, or a tight end, he's still one of the greatest at what he does.
Yes.
And that is catch balls and take him in for touchdown. However, that's what he's done. The one thing with Jalen Hurts has that the boy Patrick Mahomes doesn't have is feet.
Yes.
So last year, Jalen Hurts scored a lot of touchdowns on the ground and was the second leading rusher of his team.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you that bad when you can make plays by yourself? Do you see what I'm saying here? Patrick Mahomes can't make those plays on his feet. He might be getting the first down, but he ain't getting in for no touchdown. He might be able to extend a play and extend the drive, but he ain't going to be scoring touchdowns left, right, and center. I believe Jalen Hurts had 14 touchdowns last year. I'm going to go check that, just make sure I'm not sounding stupid.
I know exactly where you're going with this, and that's another thing. We've said this before, Slick. The league is about adjustments. I think a lot of people adjusted to Jalen Hurts running the ball and scrambling, and when he got figured out, it was almost as if he was like, shit. What
15 rushing touchdowns, 605 yards. That's a guy who can take a team when shit. That tells me if I saw a guy, someone turned around and said, "This guy's got these stats," right?
Right.
I would say that person, if shit's going wrong, can put a team on his back and run it in for the touchdown to make sure he wins the game. So why didn't that happen in the playoffs? Why didn't that happen in the last 3 games of the season?
Adjustments.
I don't know. Like, genuinely, you got Patrick Mahomes with nameless wide receivers and an amazing one of the greatest tight ends, slot receivers to ever play the game. That's one guy. All you have to do is double, triple cover him. The rest are all fucking nobodies. You've got Devontae Smith. You got AJ Brown. You got a running game. You got a solid tight end, not a great tight end, but a super solid tight end, like top 15 tight end. you should be able to extend plays and make more, but you didn't. So why is that? Is he elite?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's not elite. The talent around him helped him. And we've always talked about that, because when people say, well, Baker can't do this without people, no shit. We're not here to tell you that Baker's elite, but Baker is a solid damn quarterback, and he has the pieces to help him. Most people's teams are not elite quarterbacks.
How many elite right? So the word elite, and a lot of people don't realize this. It's like, you know, when people turn around and say that person's a goat, that person's a goat, that person's a goat. Mm-hmm. You can only say the goat about one person per sport, or you can say they're the goat tight end. You can say they're the goat this, but that means you say they're the great. Just look at the word, the greatest of all time, right? But when you use that connotation, elite isn't the goat, but it means a very select few people. So when you turn around and say, oh, they're elite, they have to be the best of a very select. That's why we can say Mike Evans is an elite wide receiver, because he's proven it with his consistency and his explosive touchdowns that he gets on a regular basis. That makes him elite.
That makes him
I think sometimes some of these phrases are just thrown around because it sounds good. But you could
so pop off. I'll say this, Slick. The media uses that shit too. When you regurgitate what the media says, that's why I tell people, stop listening to them. Michael Thomas was considered elite. We already know how that panned out. Exactly. This is the guy that was robbing the Saints. Yes, but he robbed the Saints first. They still had to pay him. That motherfucker robbed the Saints blind. We're down by 3 touchdowns. I'm hurt. My toe hurt. My pinky toe. Elite is a word that's loosely used. Like, this is why I love that we are one of the only few podcast people out here, Slick, that can give you a true definition of what elite is. There's only a few elite quarterbacks. That's the elite quarterbacks right now is Mahomes, Lamar. You can't even put Burrow in there anymore because he's not healthy enough. Josh Allen, maybe. If you want to be, maybe. But put it this way, you see how selective we are, Slick. There's no elite quarterbacks in the NFC. There are no elite quarterbacks. None.
That's a tough one. I mean, I think sometimes players go into elite status and they can come back out of it. So I think, like, for a year, you might get someone who kind of shows that elite status and then they drop off. Look, the thing with what I'm trying to say about Jalen Hurts is that rushing ability was there when he was not doing so great, when they weren't talented, and that rushing ability is still there. But it's the passing ability that's got higher. And the reason that is because he's got better targets to snag balls. It's that fucking simple. You take away the targets, he has to revert back to what he knows. What does he know? He's a running quarterback. But that does not last long. It don't last long. I will say this. I genuinely think Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback at what he does. Not at the throwing side of things, but being able to ad-lib. He's a very great improviser of the game. But his running ability will eventually, like Cam Newton, will become a thorn in his side. Because it'll become a point where when you're so good at something, it's what you fall back on. It's all college quarterbacks. Any college quarterback can make plays if they're fast. They can just make plays, right? They get to the NFL and they realize that all the other players in front of them, there's no dude that's a 3-star or a 2-star or a 1-star or a walk-on or whatever. This is the best of the best. So they're all fast. So that ability to just reel up and gain yards because shit's not going well because the pass rush is getting to you. So I'm going down the middle. I'm going to get what I can. You get popped. And it takes a toll. You look at Cam Newton, and I have a huge respect for his game and how he played it because he was, I'm not saying an archetype of what was going to happen in the future, but he was amazingly good at what he did, and it allowed him to become a better passer because people were always scared to bite down on him too hard because he could escape the pocket and make you pay that way. So it's almost like they sat and just waited for him to do what he did, which allowed him to pick people off. I think people started to play a little bit more zone around him because Zone means all eyes on the quarterback. Usually means eyes on the quarterback, flipping to wide receivers and what have you. But then you have people looking at the quarterback. Whereas in man, you're usually focused in on one single point, which is usually the wide receiver's hips. So you don't need to look at the quarterback until you need to look at the quarterback, which is when you're expecting a throw, or when they look at the quarterback. So it allowed him to gain all this early stuff, but in the longevity of his career, he got more and more beat up over it.
Yep.
And more people knew how to play it.
Yep. And that breaks you down. And here's another thing. That was an organizational situation because they never established him. This is if anything, it's almost as if the Eagles sort of learned from the Panthers, but they're not learning enough yet. Remember, Cam wasn't blessed with like a AJ Brown or Devontae Smith or a tight end or even the line that
I can't even tell you the names of the wide receivers that played in the Super Bowl.
There you go.
I genuinely couldn't, off the top of my head, tell you who were the wide receivers. Or the time they probably had Greg Olsen. That's about it.
Yeah.
Someone told me who was there. Was it? Is it MJ Stewart? No.
You mean yeah, look.
Who was the running back? Who was the running back? Can't remember his name.
It's not D'Angelo Williams or Jonathan Stewart. It was somebody else. Those guys, but that's the point. And that's why it makes it worse for Jalen. You can't even get it done with these top tier guys, and you're the studs, and you're messing up. And I get what you're saying. That's why for Lamar, that's why the acquisition of Derrick Henry should help, but he's still gonna need an elite receiver. Mobile quarterbacks, when you don't get them an elite receiver, that is going to be their downfall because now, like you said, they're going to revert back to their natural thing. I got to run and make things happen, and that's going to get your quarterback fucked up. You can't be 33 out there trying to scramble and a 25-year-old hits you. It's different.
Do you know what makes a team? What I always think, in my opinion, what makes a team truly great when it comes to playoff football. You got to be able to run the football, but run the football consistently. You don't have to be great at it. You just need to be able to run it consistently in the key areas on third downs and good first downs. You don't have to be fucking great at it. 3 yards a pop is fine. People always talk about that 4 yards. 4 yards means you can matriculate the ball down the field. You don't need to do that. You just need to be able to win first, get a good pop on first downs. That means we're looking at second and 7. That's not too bad, which means you can always pull it down to third and 4, which is very manageable. On top of that, on third downs, let's say you had something that didn't go to your liking, you didn't get what you wanted out of it. Anything that's third down and 3, you know you're gonna be living in the world of we're gonna have success. It's winning the down rather than just having a good average.
Yes.
But, and I mean this for the most part, a good passing game, because you will eventually come across a team that can stop the run. It's hard to find a team that can stop the run and the pass.
Yeah.
So you want a solid pass game, a great pass game mixed with a solid, not great, solid. I'll go with what AJ always says. Just be average. Be an average pass. Give me an average rushing team, but an above average passing team, and you will have way more success in the playoffs than a team that is amazing at running the football and not very good at passing the football.
And that's why. Yep. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your statement, my brother.
That's what we've always said. Eventually, when you go against playoff teams, guess what they usually are. They're usually teams that have better defenses, better offenses, whatever, right? You will come across a team that can stop your run dead in the water. And then what do? Oh, we got Derrick Henry. I'm talking about the Titans of yesteryear. We got Derrick Henry. We're going to win games, and you will. You'll win the game. You'll win the odd game because you're going to play the first playoff games. Usually played against a team, especially if you've done well in the season. You're usually going to play against a team that's weaker than you, so they're usually not going to be that good versus you anyway. So you're going to win that game, and then the next game comes along. That's when it becomes more difficult because now you're playing against the top 4 teams in your division. You're going to play one of them realistically. they will genuinely have run defenses that can stop you. And they're going to go, like my game that we're about to play. They can run the football. The quarterback can throw, but he's not accurate enough at it. And they're not great at running, but they're very average at both. So it's like, we don't know which one we want them to do until we find out when we play them, because we're in that situation like, can he complete the ball on a consistent basis versus us? Because we've seen them play against other teams. It's not playing against us. So we're like, okay, he can play. I've seen a game where the quarterback played really good. In the next game, he shit the bed. They ran the ball fucking amazing. So I'd put them at the same level. Like their running game and their passing game's about the same.
Yeah.
We can dominate one of them, then we can make you force them to go into what they don't want to do. If you can force a Titans team or a team that is run dominant into throwing the football, you should have success.
Yeah, you normally will. The odds are better because you said it before. If they're not familiar with running it, it's difficult now because receivers like, oh shit, what route is this? Or damn, what happens if I get jammed on the line? What do I do then? You're right.
The quarterback isn't as confident because guess what? There's a reason they've identified that the run's better than the pass because the quarterback probably can't get it done.
And he's like, damn it. And that's when the quarterback all of a sudden
or
interceptions. Guys, this is why we love this game. It's not just about that. It's about understanding the fundamentals of success. No running game no championship have been run off the backs of a running back. That's not how it works.
Not in the NFL, not anymore. You ain't gonna run to a championship in the NFL. You can do it in college. You can do it in college, but you can't do it. You can't do it in the NFL.
Yeah, you can't do it in the NFL. It's not gonna happen. Like he just said, usually the teams that get into the second round of the playoffs are top 10 defenses. Top 10, and you're not doing that.
Top 10 defenses, and the one thing they always say: stop the run, force them into the pass, because the pass is the most unpredictable. 9 times out of 10. How many passes go for either 0 yards or under 0? Quite often, because people throw incomplete passes.
Yep.
How often do you blow up somebody before they get to the line of scrimmage? It's not as often as an incomplete pass.
Right.
Which means the run matriculates the ball more from a yards per, and I'm talking about actual, like the yards given, than you would a pass, because there's more chances of success, unless you're very, very bad at running the football. I mean, that does happen.
Oh yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, if you're a team that even the best passing team is going to miss throws, and that's a wasted down, right? Every time you throw the ball into the dirt or it's a contested catch, it's a wasted down. Yep. You can run the ball and only gain a yard. You've gained something. Even if it's only a yard, you've gained something. That's 1 yard you don't have to get. But if you're an incomplete pass, it's the same amount of yards that you had before.
Yep.
And that's only.
Yep. It's a psychological game. The run game, getting something can also put a fear into the defenders. Like, shit, this happened. Now we gotta guess if they're gonna go for the play action or if they're gonna try to run it again. Like you said, incomplete pass, that hypes a defense up. Yeah. Now it's 3rd and 10. What you gonna do?
Down. Down's dead. Now it's 2nd and 10. Let's go.
Let's go.
You drop another one. It's 3rd and 10.
Exactly.
But what's the prospect worse? 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 7?
Right. That's perfect.
That's the difference. 1 game, 1 yard. 1 game, 2 yards. We went rush. We've only got 3 yards out of it. Okay, fair enough.
That 3rd.
One blown up in the backfield in a 5-yard gain. We're now at 7. 3rd and 7 is not impossible, but 3rd and 10 is a little bit more difficult because most routes break off at the 5-yard mark. The average route breaks off at the 5-yard mark. So you're going to gain something, especially if they're playing a little bit of cushion coverage. You know you're going to get that.
You're going to get that. I love it. And that's why, guys, this is why the Bucs will be coming in to this season, in my opinion, if they stay healthy, dangerous, because Slick just said it best. And I've said this, if the Bucs run game can be just average, the Bucs offense is going to be dangerous because their passing is going to be ridiculous. Now, Slick, I've been watching the practices. My God, the chemistry between Baker and K. Dotton is good. McMillan is out there killing. It's Rick Hughes. Rick Hughes.
Hey guys, sorry to pop in on you unannounced.
Yeah, you took it, brother.
It just automatically throws me in there when I log in from my
But we
phone.
love
All
it.
of a sudden, it's like, oh well, hi.
Nothing
We
wrong
love
with
it.
that, Rick. Welcome, guys. This is Rick Hughes from Bucs Live. You got to check him out. This is the man that keeps us grounded. When I get upset and I panic, he goes, calm down. You're going to forget about it next week. And when we win, I go, yeah, I forgot. This is the guy that says this team is a lot more dangerous than what you think. And then it happens. We go, oh, shit, we shouldn't have looked over this team. So Bucs Live tells you, like, guys, basically their slogan should be, trust me, I've been through this.
Yeah. There you go.
You can coin that. Trust me, I've
Yeah.
been through this.
Yeah. This is nothing.
Exactly. This is nothing, guys. You've been through all he got to do is say, remember the 80s, and then older Bucs fans be like, you got a point, y'all. Remember the 80s? Remember the 80s and 90s?
Man, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I mean, it's yeah. It got ugly.
We don't want PTSD from you, but how you doing? So what have you seen thus far, Rick, that's giving you high hopes about the Bucs?
Oh man, there's a lot. I mean, I'm really excited about this year. It something feels really right about this year. I don't just the way everybody's talking. I feel like and I don't know how else to word this. It's not just the rookies, and it's not just the additions to the team, but the addition by subtraction, getting rid of some baggage, getting rid of some, like with Devin White. You've heard all the stuff he's been saying, and
Yeah, we've been talking about it.
I just feel like the team's better now because everybody feels like they're pulling together and on the same page, and everybody wants to be there. And boy, I sure look good or whatever the heck he was posting last year, and it just everything feels right. The players. My biggest area of concern is the pass rush. Period. End. It was the number 3 wide receiver and the pass rush. Now I'm not worried about the number 3 receiver. I've heard too many things coming out of camp. I'm not worried about the number 3 receiver. I'm not worried about. I mean, look, the pass rush. Everything comes down to the pass rush. Period. End. Our secondary is going to be great if we get a pass rush. It's one thing and one thing only. This season comes down to one thing. This is the simplest this year. It's the simplest I've seen in a long, long time, because it's like, okay, all the holes are plugged except for, actually the Brady's first year was the last time that we can look at this and say, holy crap, we've plugged all the holes. I mean, the one thing we still have is pass rush. And this is why I say this, and nobody get mad at me for what I'm about to say. But when I say maybe we're like 1 year away from a genuine, real Super Bowl caliber quality team, not that we can't get there this year. We can. Absolutely, we can. But I think next year, with more cap space, all of a sudden you're going to see the team go out and get free agents and start. You know what it was like, when they make the run, when they're all in, when we start hearing those phrases, that I think is a year away. And when we start really stretching our salary cap and doing things to get guys in that maybe we're not quite there yet, but this is what you see from the Super Bowl caliber teams. But it's not that we can't get there. We absolutely can get there this year. Do I expect it? No. Am I saying Super Bowl or bust? No. Another good year, another NFC Championship game, or whatever, and I still consider it a good year, but I think we're 1 year from genuinely okay, all in. Here we go.
Yeah, I can agree with that, Rick. I'm not mad at that. This year does feel special. you're
Yeah.
right. This could be the year where I'll say this: the Bucs get to the Super Bowl, I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked. There's a difference.
Right.
I'd be surprised, not shocked.
Well
I
put.
say that
Yes.
because pieces, and we're getting there. Like you said, now I do think next year when we have another year under this new system, if he doesn't leave, hopefully, we'll be fine. But you're right. This Bucs team is hungry. Now, this year, like you said, pass rush could be a concern, but hopefully this is where Bowles will use his thought process and schemes to put us in the position where that's irrelevant, and we have rotation players. Roswell, we have Nelson, we have a decent rotation that can keep this team steady in the pass rush, in my opinion.
Hopefully the rookies will come through, and then you're correct. But right now, we've added a little bit, like with Jordan Whitehead. We've added a little bit, but we lost a little bit when it comes to Devin White or whatever. Now, I think that's addition by subtraction, but you got to fill that hole. So I mean, I don't know. We lost. What's his name? Went to Detroit. The defensive back.
Carlton Davis.
Yeah, Carlton Davis. There are holes.
That's a genuine concern.
Right. There are things you have to fill the hole. You can't just say, well, I didn't like him anyway. Well, okay, but you got to put somebody out there that you're going to like then. I mean,
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's not all, everything's not, unicorns coming out of our backsides, but, it sure feels good, man. Something feels like, and it feels like the players know, and everybody came in. This is my question to you guys, and I want to hear from you guys. Why did the players all come in shape? It's not just one or two guys. It's like everybody is in mad shape this year. Everybody is ready to go and jacked up. What happened? Why?
The only thing I could possibly put it down is good leadership. Because someone's got to get everyone on that same page. That no one just freak goes to the gym, gets into shape, and then I'm not talking about average Joes, but like everyone in the team, that like a good chunk of the team does it. That's led by somebody. That's led by figureheads, so to speak. Whether it's the coaches, whether it's the players, or a mixture of the two. Someone who's guys. If we really work hard these next months before we even come into practice, enjoy your off season. Have your off season. But the month before we go into camp, we should all be working really fucking hard, get in the shape so we can hit the ground fucking running.
But didn't we have this same leadership last year? There's no new leadership.
We did, but I think last year was still a chance for the players to finally get their direction and identity. Not in a bad way, but
and Baker's in his second year as well, so that's a little bit different. He's probably feeling a bit more of a different kind of leader because there's a bit more stability, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but this is my point about addition by subtraction. Remember, Devin White had a C on his chest last year.
Yes.
Yep.
He was a captain. They were counting on him for leadership. Again, now you don't have the guy, and we're talking about what great leadership all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, look at it this way. With the Baker situation, they had to fill him out. I think he won them over that Minnesota Vikings game when he ran for that and threw his body on the line for that to get that first down. And now, Rick, because he did that, they have an established repertoire with him, and they see that he ain't going nowhere. And also bringing back Evans, Winfield, Wirfs, all that brings them hype and stability. And also, let's be real, Rick, the path through the NFC is not as steep as the AFC. I guarantee you they're looking like, guys, these teams that they're putting above us, we can take them. It's not far-fetched that the Bucs can hang with Detroit. We
did hang with Detroit last year. We didn't get blown out by Detroit.
And look, we didn't get blown out by the 49ers. Dallas, enough said. We know what they're going to be like. Eagles, they're a mess. They got to get that fixed first because you put that down so many times where your team quit on you. That's not an overnight change. Green Bay Packers, we handled them before. We're not worried about Green Bay. So I do think, Rick, that they are seeing all these things, and also Baker's present in his second year is establishing, guys, we can do this. And the path again to the NFC is not hard. This ain't the AFC. The NFC is any of these, the top 4 teams can win it all on just in case one of their teams in the NFC have a bad day. Let's say if Brock Purdy and Ayuk leaves the 49ers, they're going to be vulnerable heavily. I said what I said.
Well, no, I don't disagree with you. I just feel like the theme from last year's offseason,
yeah,
if you remember Devin White and the stuff that he said, the theme of last year's offseason for the Buccaneers was, I'm going to get mine. Yep. And it feels like this year, it's, we're going to get ours.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
You got Gerald
it just feels like the whole team together is on this weird. I mean, the negotiating was hilarious. The contract negotiations were hilarious to me. It was hilarious. I've never seen anything like it. Dave, God, I wish Dave was on here. But it was, Dave gets so mad because he's a finance guy and he deals with contracts and negotiations and all this stuff. And with the Bucs and like Mike Evans, it's I really want to be here. I want to be here, and the team is like, yeah, we love him. He deserves to be paid. Same thing with Winfield and Wirfs. Yeah, they deserve to be paid. They deserve. Wow, we really want him here. The other guy's like, yeah, I really want to be there. It's not. Nobody's playing hardball with each other. Everybody wants to be here. Mm-hmm. If you've been a Bucs fan for any length of time, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
That's just really
not this
bizarre.
Many people. You might have the odd 1 or 2 guys who are like, yeah, I want to stay here. But you don't think you get that many.
These guys want to win it. That's why these guys want to win it. And it's not that hard. Rick, it's like we just said it before you was on there. The Bucs, they hung in there with not even hung in there. They put a scare into Detroit. Detroit was sitting back like, oh my God, Baker, thank you for throwing that pick. He don't throw that pick. The Bucs are playing against the 49ers. I honestly think Baker was going to march down and score. He did it, and it's not that he had a history. He did it against the Falcons. And Detroit's defense is not as good, even with the addition of Carlton. One thing that we all know personally, Carlton got Butterworth frying pan for hands. If he had hands, he would have stayed in Tampa. He could be considered one of the best corners. So we'll see about that. They still have a shaky defense. The only NFC team defense that I could say that's scary like ours is the 49ers, Slick. I'm not scared of Detroit's defense. I'm not scared of the Eagles' defense. I'm not scared of the Cowboys' defense.
I think all 4 of those teams you just touched on, they are good teams. But I think they're teams that we can match, and that's why they don't scare me. They're in the same world as us, and same or below. It's going to be in that conversation. And of course, when it's that tight, when the separation is very little, that a game can go either way. So it'll come to the preparation, it'll come to the individuals, the matchups. All these little things will all count. That's why we love this game, right? It's like playing chess with human beings.
That's why we love it, baby. We love it, man. We're gonna get there because I know it's getting a little late over there. I'm gonna cut mine short, but again, guys, thanks a lot for checking out the Bucs Report, the Aftermath on 102.9, the Game Broad Street South Radio. AJ Turn up here, and always again show your support for Coach Slick. Check out my YouTube channel. It's about Bucking Time. You're gonna see a video called "Give Coach Slick an Opportunity." His accolades speak for itself, and let's wish him well to bring that chip home, Slick. Go ahead, Slick. And as always, guys, I'm about to be out. You can check me out. It's about Bucking Time. Check my Instagram page and check out my merch. But as always, go Bucs. I take care of yourself, my man. We'll see you next week, my brother.
I'll see you soon. I'll let you know what's going on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys, that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us. We have talked a little bit about Devin White, talked a little about the makeup of this team, and what's been going on around a little bit Rumorville. But we have a preseason game coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Go check it out. It's going to be interesting to see some of these camp battles. You've got the likes of Hainsey, still considered the starter. Will Barton make a push for that? We've got the wide receiver camp battle. That's going to be interesting. At the moment, we know that Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, probably Trey Palmer, and then is it Raheem Jarrett? Is it Sterling Shepard? Is it all of those guys, or is it the new guy too, Jalen McMillan? So doesn't the running back battle? That's also quite interesting. We got our guy. Our draft pick going in there, but he is considered third on the depth chart. So it's going to be interesting to see where we end up in all of this. We've got some backup. We've got some backups going to get some good playing time. We're going to see who's going to emerge as the number 2 guys. I love preseason. It gives a little taste of football before we get into the real main course. So, guys, for me, my team's about to go into about to play their first playoff game since 2019, so it's a big one for us. We've been preparing, and our preparation for the last 2 weeks has been pretty hectic. So we're looking to snag the win there and go on to the semifinals, or as you like to call it, semifinals, and see what we can shake loose. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be talking about trying to bring home a chip. But till then, Bucs on me, Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3, go Bucs!